Claire Kennedy here and welcome back. I have recently learned how to screen record on my laptop. Tech does not come naturally to me, so I have to celebrate every new little win. So I thought it would be a good time to make a short video showing you how I edit photos with Photoshop elements to prepare them for making transfers to add to my paintings. I have recently been asked to submit some work for an upcoming exhibition which will be celebrating the 850th anniversary of the city of Glasgow. So I've been out and about with my camera, taking photos of some familiar sites around the city. And this photo here is of the Riverside Museum, which is an amazing building designed by Zaha Hadid, which opened in 2011. So I've opened the photo in Photoshop Elements. Photoshop Elements is basically a simpler, more basic version of Photoshop. And it's also quite a bit cheaper. And up here, you've got various drop-down menus. And over here, you have your toolbox. Now, the first thing to be aware of if you're making a transfer is that you'll be sticking it face down onto your painting. To see a step-by-step guide of the transferring process, have a look at my video entitled How to Create the Perfect Photo Transfer. I've put it in the link in the description below. But because you'll be sticking it face down, it's the mirror image that we'll see. So the first thing I'm going to do with this photograph is I'm going to flip the original image around. So for this, I go into Image, and then Rotate, and then Flip Horizontal. There we go. So it's the mirror image. This is especially important if you've got any writing or typography in your photograph. Now, my photo is already in black and white because I had a black and white filter on when I took it. But we've got some other options here to enhance this. So I'm going to go into Enhance, Convert to black and white. And then down here, there's a few different options, urban snapshots, portraits, etc. But for making a transfer, I quite like this newspaper option. It's kind of gritty, it's got a kind of gritty graphic quality, which is good for making transfers. And then let's go to press OK. Now, to make a successful transfer, what you're looking for is nice, deep blacks, and also lots of nice white space, because this is where all your lovely paint layers will show through. So I'm going to up the contrast and the brightness of this. And for this, I'm going to go back into Enhance, and then Adjust Lighting, and Brightness Contrast. So here you're just going to play around with the brightness and the contrast until you're happy. So I quite like it pretty contrasty like this, and then just press OK. So it's already looking pretty good, but for my transfer, I'm only really interested in the building and this horizon line. I don't really want all this foreground. So a really good tool in Elements is the eraser tool, which is over here, which I'm going to click on. Now, you can make your eraser bigger or smaller down here. I'm going to make it quite big because I want to block out all of this here. It's going to take it all away because I don't need this in my transfer. And then when I get near the top up here, I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller, just to make it easier, like this. Now, don't worry if you make a mistake here. You know, if you go, whoops, like that, not a problem, because there's a little handy button down here called Undo. And if you click that, it just takes away the last thing that you did. So I'm just going to go back in here and just neaten this up. right across. This. I'm not going to make it too perfect. I just want to get rid of the foreground and these little bits I've missed. Now, you might have noticed in some of my paintings, I don't have such a harsh line here. Sometimes I have a sort of gradiated, a gradient here, a fade, which gives a sort of more natural look. I'm not going to cover this one here because it's actually quite involved. A lot of the time I just use the eraser like this, and it's perfectly fine. Now, this photo is looking already pretty good for transfer, but I'm just going to show you a couple of other little tricks that you can use here. So I took this photo really quite early in the morning just so I could avoid lots of cars and people milling about. But this food truck here is kind of annoying me. It's right in the middle and I don't really want it to be there at all. So there's a little trick that you can do to get rid of this. Now over here in the toolbox, there's a tool here and it's called the clone stamp tool. It looks like a little rubber stamp. I'm going to click this and bring my cursor over. Now, what I want to be there instead of the food truck is this sort of dark area here. So I'm just going to press Alt and click and then bring this over. And away it goes. I'm going to be kind of careful with it. I mean, if you want to be really, I'm just being I'm not being overly careful with this. I mean, if you want, you could really go detailed in and you can clone a little area here and bring it over. But at the moment, I'm just going to show you how to do it. I'm going to get rid of this bit as well, actually. So I'm just going to Alt and click again. I'm going to get rid of this. Kind of, there we go. That looks much better. Now, because I've taken this away, I also now want to take this away as well. So I'm going to go back into my eraser tool. It's just really tidying up the photograph. You don't want to use that clone stamp tool too much because sometimes it can make it look a little bit overworked, but it's quite handy for taking out a few little areas that just to tidy up a little bit. There we go. Now there's lots more things you could do. I could go in here. In fact, I think I might later on. I could go in here and get rid of this if I want to, and this. I might actually just this one because I quite like a nice clear area in the sky. Like this. If I'm doing that, I'm going to have to go in here really, aren't I, to get rid of the rest of that pole. So back into the clone stamp. Alt, click. There we go. There, I think I'm happy with that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this and it'll be ready to print out to use as a transfer. Again, if you're interested in how to make a transfer with this, I've put a link to my demonstration video in the description below, which will show you exactly what to do. Okay, I hope that was helpful for some of you, and thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Bye for now.